Hey, hi, what's up, everyone? So, this is going to be the very first video of this channel. As of now, this channel is named Jaden Says. I couldn't come up with something which sounded much better or cooler. So, you have to, deal with it for at least some time until or unless I find a better name for the channel. Now, the niche of this channel is I don't know what it's going to be right now. I still haven't decided. So as of now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put all my researches that I do. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a PhD or anything like that. No, I'm just a normal person who, in his free time, loves reading, likes to do some researches here and there regarding some different topics that I might be thinking, and some people in the same you can call it zone might be thinking right now. So this channel is just gonna be some random BS, you can call it, or something important. I don't know. You can just think of it whatever suits you the best. Now here goes the first video of the channel. The first video that I'm gonna be posting right now on this channel is going to be the anatomy of temptation. Okay, now here's the truth. You have been lied to, not by your parents, not by your ex, but by the evolution itself. Now, there is a walnut-shaped structure in your skull called nucleus accumbens. Now, the nucleus accumbens has one job, just one. Its job is to make you want things you do not need. Now, not things that you are good for, okay, or not the things that are good for you, not things that will make you happy in 6 months, just things, shiny things, salty things, sweet things, dangerous things, and the worst of them all, forbidden things. This is not a bug, okay? Let's just make this clear. It is not a bug. This is not your mistake, okay? Now, it is not a bug. It is not your fault. It is not a willpower problem. Researchers who have actually opened up brains and watched them in time have found that some people get a measurable dopamine spike in the second they see the trigger. All right, the trigger is something which basically makes you go, I want that, I want this, I want to do this, I want to do that. That is a trigger. You see something online, you get the urge to buy it. Okay, now this happens before they have even decided whether they want the thing. Okay, now studies have found that a greater activity in the brain's reward center predicts a chance of giving in to the temptation. At the time, activity in the region responsible for self-control predicts successful resistance. So while you were busy blaming yourself for eating this sleeve of biscuits by your brain, okay, by yourself, your brain was just doing its ancient primitive job, but badly. Today we are going to do an autopsy on temptation, not the boring version, all of it, okay? The gods, the monsters, the fictional rings of power, the real psychology behind why you checked your phone 4 times while reading this sentence. So let's get into it. All right, so segment number 1, the old gods knew. Now, every civilization that ever figured out how to write things down also wrote down a list of things you should not want, which tells you something. If temptation needed no explaining, nobody would have bothered writing the rule book. Christianity gave us the 7 deadly sins. The 7 deadly sins are pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. These are things that feel incredible for 11 minutes, then ruin your decades. Judaism and Islam have their versions of the same warning label. Now, the message is remarkably consistent. You are going to want the thing, you are going to want it badly. My favorite is not a sin, it is a person. Now, Samson was a man with literal Superman strength. He gets taken down not by an enemy, not by a weapon, but by a haircut he consented to. Now, the story goes that a rival king asked Delilah to find the secret behind Samson's strength. She got him to fall for her. One night, she cut the hair that was the source of his power, after which his enemies were able to capture and blind him. Let that sink in. The strongest man in the Bible was not defeated, he was charmed into cooperating with his own downfall. This is not a story about a haircut. This is a story about what happens when the things you want most is standing directly between you and the thing you need most. Every religion has its version of this. Eden had the apple. Buddhism has desire itself flagged as the root of all suffering. Not a specific desire, just wanting things in general. Notice none of these stories end with, he simply tried harder. They end with someone getting outsmarted by their cravings because that is the trick temptation always pulls. It does not fight you head to, it just does not fight you head on itself. It just waits. It just waits long enough until you are tired, lonely, or bored. Then it will just casually walk up to you and will ask you nicely. Now, here's the segment two, the monsters that aren't in the Bible. Here is what nobody tells you. Long before organized religion had a monopoly on guilt, the Greeks were already writing horror stories about desire. They just, kind of dressed it up a little better. Take the Sirens. Everyone remembers them as mermaids who sing. Wrong. The Sirens of Greece tempted Odysseus with songs of glory and knowledge, not simply with sex. What actually seduces a man like Odysseus is not beauty, but the promise of being remembered. Odysseus was self aware enough to know that he would fail this test. So, what he does? He had his crew plug their ears with beeswax, while he himself, okay, now listen to this carefully. He had his crew plugged their ears with beeswax while he himself tied to the mast so he could hear the song without being able to act on it. This is not willpower, but this is a man who knew his willpower was garbage and built a cage around his own bad decisions instead. Here's the twist. Nobody puts in the highlight, first of all. This is the twist that Odysseus survives the Sirens this one time. According to the later legend, he eventually dies chasing the very thing they promised him decades later with no mast and no ropes to save him. The moral is not, resist temptation once, you are safe. The actual moral is the thing that almost got you at 20 will finally and eventually get you at 50, the one time you forget to tie the rope. Fantasy inherited every bit of this DNA. Tolkien's One Ring does not tempt people with sex or food, it tempts them with power to fix things. Boromir does not want the ring to conquer the world, he wants it to protect his city. Now, C.S. Lewis, C.S. Lewis, the author of famous book The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where we also got the movie The Narnia, did the trick with a plate of Turkish delight. A child betraying his own family for a candy sounds absurd until you remember that this is literally what a drug does to the receptors. It hijacks a cheap pleasure and convinces you that it is worth the whole kingdom. Faust makes a deal with a demon for limitless pleasure and wisdom and spends the whole story slowly realizing that infinite indulgence feels a lot like nothing at all. Notice a pattern yet? So, Sirens promise glory, the rings promise power, Turkish delight promises comfort, Faust promises everything, every single myth, every fantasy epic, or every religious parable is running the same experiment. Give a human being what they think that they want and watch how fast they destroy themselves getting it. We did not, we just did not stop writing these stories because we got wiser. We stopped because we do not need metaphors anymore. We have got a smartphone. So here's the segment three. So your brain is running a literal 300,000 year software. Now here's the uncomfortable bit. Strip away the gods, the rings, and the demons, and what you are left with is a system that has not been meaningfully updated since we were chasing deers in the jungles. A notification sound alone can trigger a spike of wanting dopamine. You can call it the dopamine floods a part of the brain called the striatum. This creates an urge to check your phone regardless of whether the notification is even worth reading or not. You are not weak for reaching out for your phone 40 times a day. You are biologically doing what a siren song was designed to do to a sailor. Same trap, but better graphic design this time. Now, it gets worse the more you give in. Every time you scum the neural pathway behind the craving becomes more sensitized. This means it takes more effort next time to override it. Now, this is a feedback loop where giving in makes the next temptation louder. Willpower is not a muscle you are failing to flex. This is a system actively being rigged against you one scroll at a time. Here's the part that you should really, here's the part that should really irritate you. Now, researchers ran a test. You have heard of it. Kid, marshmallow, wait 15 minutes, get two. Even they eventually admit that science still cannot fully explain why some people are more sensitive to these triggers than others. Now, translation. Some of this genuinely is not your fault. It is wiring. It is the wiring. Okay, some people were handed a Ferrari system with bicycle brakes. It is just not possible to stop it at willpower. And this is the part that is actually useful. Willpower is not the only thing that can help us. Researchers found out that a pre-commitment, which means taking our own ability to give into something tempting before we are in a situation where we might give in, actually works better than just using willpower, especially for people who tend to act on impulse. Now, who thought of pre-commitment? Thousands of years before scientists started studying it, a Greek man who used a rope and had an understanding crew. That is the secret that people have been trying to figure out for thousands of years, but in different ways. We do not beat temptation by being stronger than the temptation itself. We beat it by not giving in ourselves the choice of giving. Just let that saying sink in, okay? You know that this is gonna be bad for you, okay? And here's you. Now you need to convince yourself that giving in towards this is not going to help you. It is just gonna make things even, you can put it worse for yourself. Now here's the segment four. The modern temptation has a wardrobe. Now the trap remains the same, but just the marketing part has gotten better. Now let's make the old stories about temptation relevant to 2026, because the things that tempts us have changed and nobody told us. The infinite scroll on our phones is like the lotus eater. In the story, Odysseus, men eat a fruit that makes them forget about home. They do not want to leave. This is not a story anymore. That is what happens when we scroll through our phones on a Tuesday night and see things that are for you. You get the joke, right? The For You page. Exactly, yes. Now, the dating app is like, you can call it the island, okay? Now, On the island, the lady does not kidnap Odysseus. She just makes it very easy for him to stay. He does not want to leave. 7 years pass before he even tries to leave. That is what happens in life when we get stuck in a situationship that is not good for us. Doom scrolling the news is like the sirens. It is not pleasure. That is, you can call it luring us in this promise of knowledge or wisdom. We think that if we just scroll a little bit more, we will finally understand what is going on. We will not. That is the harsh truth. There is no understanding at the bottom of the news feed, or you can call it the story as well. There are more problems and more things to worry about in the current time. Watching one episode is like eating Turkish delight. It is a pleasure that is easy to get, but it is not what we really need. We need rest, connection, and sleep. This slow, or you can call it, or you can just imagine the show is so good that we keep watching it anyway, be it slow or fast. I know some people who you can call it even just finish, or you can call it the ram down the whole show just in a night, and on the second day on work they would be complaining how terrible that the sleep last night was for them. So this is not going to help you. All right. Now the gods are not around anymore. The demons are gone. Who knows? The way that temptation works is still the same. It is a small thing that is easy to get, but it is not what we really need. It's just got a look like an app icon. That is all. Now here's the segment five: how to actually not be a cautionary tale. Now, no magic, what the research says works. Here's a quick list of things that can actually and genuinely help. So listen to me carefully from this point on. The first point that I have for you, okay, tie yourself to the mast, literally. Pre-commitment, which means taking your own ability to give into something tempting, actually works better than just using willpower, especially for people who tend to act on impulse. Delete the app before bed. Leave your wallet at home. Do not buy the biscuit at all. All right. Now, Odysseus did not outsmart the siren. He outplanned them. Now, know when you are in a state, research says that people are more likely to give in to temptation when they are emotional or excited. Just knowing when you are in that state can help you avoid things that might tempt you. Do not make decisions about your diet at 11 p.m. after the day. This is not you. This is your emotions. Now, change your environment, not yourself. Research says that to break the cycle of temptation, we need to change our environment to avoid things that might tempt us. We cannot just use willpower to avoid something that's right in front of us every single day. Move the things that are tempting you in silence. Okay. Now put that notification on silent or put it on D&D. Just completely get rid of the things that are tempting to you and trying to tempt you. Now, fourth point is build habits before you need them. Research says that there are people who have habits tend to have better self control when they are tempted. Discipline is not something that we are born with it, it's a habit that we build over time. None of this is exciting or, glamorous. It is the difference between being like Odysseus, who tied himself to the mast, and being like the people who got, shipwrecked because they gave in to temptation. Now, so here is where we are. Every temptation we face has already been written about by thousands of years ago. They did not have an equipment to study the brain, but they did actually paid attention to what happens to people and turned it into stories. The only difference between us and Odysseus is that his temptation sang and ours buzzes on our phones. He tied himself down, survived. The question is, we bother to build our way to avoid temptation, or we just wait and see what happens to us. All right, guys. So that is gonna be all for this one specific video. I do not know how to basically make YouTube videos. This was the first video that I'm going to be posting. There will be a second video that I'm going to be shooting right now on my screen right now. Now, if you think that I was just reading something which was already available on the website, nope. I actually sat down for 2 hours and wrote each and everything over here, did some small research here and there, and what I will do for you is I'll just show it to you. Okay, I'll just show the thing that I wrote for myself. Now, this is all I did in last 3 hours of my production, and this is, by the way, the makeshift mic that I have with myself. This bad boy is recording each and everything. Alright, so I hope you guys liked my makeshift mic and the video. I'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely evening, morning, or a gorgeous day ahead. Goodbye to you all. Be safe. See you in the next one. Goodbye.